You're gonna tell me when, right? All right. Good morning. Good Friday morning. Here we are. My name is Alex Caputo-Pearl. I'm the United Teachers Los Angeles president. And we've got Justin with us in the side corner doing interpretation for us. Great to see Justin. Coming to you from the Caputo-Pearl household here on Friday. This must be the 27th of March. We're going to get started here. We're going to do a bunch of updates about the situation. We're going to start off with a big shout out to all of our United Teachers Los Angeles members. We love you. We're with you. We know this is a very, very trying time in a number of different ways. With our students, we love our students, and we love public education and all the parents that we work with across the city. So welcome, and we're going to get through this crisis together, and let's get to some updates here. One piece of good news is that you've got spring break up. Spring break is still spring break, so next week, make sure you take that break, educators. You've been put in enormously difficult circumstances here. Make sure you take that break and rest and rejuvenate. Last time I asked folks to point out what was different in the Caputo-Pearl clutter behind me. I gave you a hint. It was not the baskets, although the baskets do get a lot of attention. It was, in fact, Chewbacca that my son, daughter, and wife put in there. Other people said Lysol. Yes, we did have Lysol in there too, although I was thinking about Chewbacca. But Lysol was good as well. So my last broadcast was on Monday. Since then, you've had different videos from different UTLA officers. Our great new president-elect, who's taking office on July 1st, Cecily Meyer, did a video. Other officers did a video, and we're going to keep that going. So different officers are reaching out to you and giving you information. So first thing is just what we always say, which is we're in a shelter in place. It is best for you to stay at home unless there is essential stuff that you need to do. Whether it be grocery shopping. Some of you went back to school to get materials. Very briefly, that is considered essential, but try to stay at home as much as possible. Remember, educators model for the rest of society how we should be behaving and acting. I just want to also just say that you all have been doing incredible work. The educators, health and human service providers, et cetera, who are part of UTLA. Many of you have your own kids at home. I've got my own kids at home. We love our kids in our families, but it does create a challenge to try to work remotely and also have our kids with us, trying to do essentially education with our kids at home. You've been adapting to an entirely new system of how to do education during this crisis. And I just want to commend all of you for that. And I want to acknowledge how difficult that has been. For you to be juggling your own kids, your own family. Maybe you're taking care of an elderly relative as well as the regular work that you do. So great job. We know that there's questions out there, some of which we are still pressing for answers for. So, for example, there's a lot of questions on social media about high school seniors and making sure that high school seniors are still on the path to graduate. We're pressing for more information on that. We're doing a lot of work on special education and how we work with our most vulnerable students with disabilities during this crisis. We're affiliates because a lot of the special ed question resides with Betsy DeVos. So we're on the special ed question. We know that grading has come up. The grading window obviously was pushed back as we announced in our FAQ. Please go to utla.net for our FAQ, frequently asked questions. Obviously, the grading window was pushed back, but in terms of what grades are going to look like for the rest of the year, we know schools are going to be closed at least until May 1st. It very well may be through the rest of the academic year. We are actually bargaining with the district on what grading is going to look like. So we'll have more information for you on that. The California Department of Education is supposed to come out with something new on grading today, and we'll let you know, of course. So next update, this is something that's very concrete to all of our educators' lives, and that is this professional development piece. Originally, the district had said that they wanted 4 professional developments completed next week by April 2nd. We have worked with the district to extend that. It is no longer April 2nd that has to be done by. It's April 17th. So there's been an extension of over 2 weeks on when those professional developments need to get done. Second important thing about that, number one, they don't need to get done until April 17th. And we commend the district on being flexible on that. And number two, you can do them at whatever time you want. There's not one specific window of time that you have to get them done in. This is particularly important for our educators who have kids at home, right? You're juggling your schedule, so it's going to help you to be able to do these at whatever time you want. Third thing about those professional developments, individual schools working with your principal can apply for waivers to those professional developments if your school has already had a lot of technology trainings. Okay. Now, the April 17th deadline does not apply to the professional development happening today. The one that's happening today, Friday, folks need to participate in. That's a 1.5 to 2 hour training. You're supposed to get it done before 1 p.m. Remember, today is a pupil-free day. So please take that seriously, educators. Don't run yourself ragged and pull your hair out. Today needs to be a day where you are doing your best not to be communicating with students. I know that it's your instinct, because you're great people and you're great educators, to always communicate with your students, but try to really reserve this space for you today, which is a pupil-free day, to just get that 1.5 hour to 2 hour professional development done before 1 o'clock. So that's the one today. The other 4 you have until April 17th. Okay. Now, substitutes, nurses, counselors, others, we're getting the answer on whether they need to participate in this professional development or whether there are other professional developments. We're getting the answer to that, and we'll have that up on the frequently asked questions as soon as possible. Next piece here, remember that memo that you got, that 7-page memo that's called At-Home Continuity of Learning. Remember, that is recommendations, not requirements. Okay? It is recommendations, not requirements. Okay? So just bear that in mind. We are going to the bargaining table today, Friday, at 1 p.m. And we are bargaining. We're going to bargain for a memorandum of understanding on issues that are affected by the coronavirus scandal. So, for example, we're going to be bargaining on compensation and benefits to make sure that no compensation is taken away from educators during this crisis. We're going to make sure to lock in the substitute agreement. The substitute agreement that was put out on March 20th, we're going to lock that into memorandum of understanding language. That was a huge, huge victory for substitutes, and frankly, a huge victory for the district, leading the way on how employers should treat employees who are contingent and who are day-to-day workers. LAUSD really showed a model on that. So we're going to be doing compensation and benefits. We're going to be bargaining on evaluations. What happens with evaluations now that we've lost these weeks in the middle of the year? We're going to be bargaining on distance learning. What is, everything from professional developments to screen time to time with students, all of that is going to be bargained. It starts today, Friday at 1 p.m. You got the demand to bargain letter that we emailed to you last Monday. Today, bargaining starts. Now, remember, if you receive an unreasonable directive from an administrator, ask for that in writing, and then let your chapter chair and your area representative know as soon as possible. We are not going to allow unreasonable directives from principals to be done during this period. Just because a principal wants to be a hero or wants to be a shero, we're not going to allow them to just run roughshod over educators who are learning an entirely new way to engage their students, who are juggling their own families during this coronavirus crisis. So if you get an unreasonable directive, immediately ask that administrator to put it in writing, and immediately let your chapter chair and your area representative know we are not going to stand for any unreasonable directives. Now, there is a link, and I believe it's going to be put up in the comments here. There is a link to the staff, UTLA area representative staff, school by school. So if you're not sure who your representative is, your area representative for UTLA, you can go to that link, quickly find your staff, and let them know of any unreasonable directive. Okay? Um, so moving forward, a couple other things here. That's my refrigerator. Do you hear that? That's what happens when you have a refrigerator. My refrigerator every 20 minutes makes a really weird sound. So sorry about that. I'm sure you have things in your house like that. So next thing, you received yesterday in an all-member email. You should have gotten an all-member email yesterday. If you didn't get an all-member email yesterday, make sure you email the webmaster address at UTLA, and we'll make sure that you're in the system. So in the all-member email you got on Thursday, we shared with you the letter that we sent. This is a letter that I sent to Austin Butner and all 7 school board members. We also CC'd it to Gavin Newsom, Eric Garcetti, and Tony Thurmond. And the letter calls for no charter co-locations to be done, no new charter co-locations to be done for next year. So all of the charter co-location fights that we have going on, we've got fantastic people leading them, like Francine Matthews, an incredible chapter chair at Shirley Avenue. We've got at Lisa Raga, we've got Sally Ortiz, an incredible chapter chair, leading these fights against charter co-locations all throughout the last few months. And then suddenly we have the coronavirus hit. So this letter calls for no new charter co-locations for next academic year, okay? There's supposed to be a process. That process has been disrupted, and we're calling for no new charter co-locations. The letter, secondly, called for any existing charter co-locations, that those charter operators must be looked at by county health, by the district, and by state health to make sure they are abiding by basic health standards. And if they're not, then they should be kicked off those public school campuses. That's the second thing the letter says. The third thing the letter says is that there should be no new approvals of any new charter schools. On that third one, we're not talking about co-locations. We're just talking about charter schools in general. We need to be making sure that all of the LAUSD resources possible are being used for our existing schools to make sure they are healthy and safe. Okay? We don't need more money being sought by new charters that pop up and take away money from the district budget. And also, obviously, the process has been disrupted. There has not been the legal process necessary for the school board to hear from the public about a new charter approval. So that third thing is no new charters, period, even outside of co-locations. So please take a look at that letter. We're going to fight on this. The battle against privatization continues no matter what our circumstances are. Next quick thing, you've got Cesar Chavez Day off on Friday, 3rd, and then you've got spring break that following week, okay? So take advantage of that time. Try to really decompress. Educators, health and human service folks, UTLA members, you are doing incredible work. Make sure to take that week to try to sit back a little bit and rejuvenate, okay? This is a very intense time, so you still have those vacations. Next thing, and I think this can be popped up onto the little feed as well, and it was in yesterday's all-member email. The United Food and Commercial Workers. I don't know about you, but I've known the grocery workers who work at our Albertsons here on Crenshaw Boulevard and Martin Luther King Boulevard. That's the store we go to. You know, for 17 years, I've been going to that store. And those workers have been there for 17 years. They know my kids, they know me, they know my wife, they know my mother-in-law. And we've got to make sure that those frontline workers are protected. So there is a petition from the United Food and Commercial Workers, UFCW. It was emailed to you yesterday. I think it can be linked here. Please sign that to make sure that our grocery workers are protected with the appropriate gear, the appropriate practices, etc. Okay? Next thing, I'm just going to run through a few last things here. City Council today. The LA City Council said they weren't going to meet anymore for a while. This was unacceptable. So UTLA, and you should be proud of your union, UTLA was one of the organizations that said, no, the City Council needs to continue to meet virtually. If the UTLA Board of Directors can meet virtually, then the LA City Council can meet virtually. I chaired meetings of the UTLA Board of Directors on Wednesday night and then again on Thursday night. So if we can do it, then certainly the LA City Council can do it. They got less members than we did. They got 15 members. We got 47 members. So they got an easy job. Anyway, the City Council is meeting today, Friday, on a worker relief package, okay, that's going to help grocery workers. It's going to help hotel and restaurant employees who have been laid off. These are the parents of our students. Please email your city council member and let them know you want them to pass the emergency coronavirus worker relief package today. Please do that. That's LA City Council. You can find who your member is and email them, tell them that package. Going out a little bit more to the state level, we met yesterday virtually with the California Alliance for Community Schools. This is a coalition that UTLA, San Diego, and Oakland started 5 years ago. It includes LA, San Diego, Oakland, the teachers unions in all three of those cities, plus the teachers unions in Fresno, Berkeley, San Francisco, Anaheim, Richmond, Santa Ana, a whole bunch of other places. I'm forgetting some there, but a whole bunch of other places. Stanford, you know, the phone yesterday. Bakersfield was on the phone yesterday, and we are building power with each other across the state. And one of the things that we may want to do across the state is drive a statewide effort to make sure that distance learning, all the stuff that we're doing now, is made temporary, right? We don't want these privatization-oriented, billionaire-funded ed tech companies, as they call themselves. We don't want them to come in and use this opportunity to basically try to wipe away the need for human being educators and just move to entirely online teaching. That's not how schools have worked. It's not how schools should work. It's not how schools are going to work. You need the human connection to schools. So one of the things we may do statewide is actually drive an effort with all of those other locals to make sure that any contracts that are made around distance learning are temporary, so that once this crisis is over, we go back to the way schools should be running. Finally, nationally, and you can look at the LA Times, even the corporate supportive LA Times, the Los Angeles Times, who usually supports the billionaires in our fights around privatization. Even the LA Times, if you read the article this morning, even they recognize that the federal bailout that happened, the $3 trillion bailout that happened, was guided mostly towards bailing out corporations and mostly is not looking out for workers. A 1,200 one-time per person gift of money is not going to be enough to sustain families. We're in a position where, because we have a strong union, UTLA, because we are in the public sector and we're part of a robust part of the public sector, public education, we're in a position where we're being paid and we're working during this crisis. Many workers are not. You know many workers who have been laid off. $1,200 as a one-time means-tested thing is not going to help working families. So that's part of the $3 trillion bailout. But where's most of the money? Most of the money is going towards corporations, even corporations that have nothing to do with the coronavirus crisis. Boeing and a lot of military contractors got huge gifts of money in this federal bailout. This is unacceptable. And what it proves is that we need to be part of building a national movement that protects working families, that protects public education, that expands the public sector and expands unions. Okay. So we're working with the Chicago Teachers Union and other national community organizing efforts, community organization networks, to build a national movement to make sure that any future federal spending plan gets to the schools, gets to our families here in LA, and does what it should do. And that brings me to the end here, which is back to us. I saw a beautiful photograph, a beautiful screenshot yesterday of Mariana Elementary School over on the east side. And by the way, Mariana not only has great teachers, they've also got great parents who were very active during our strike. Mariana parents are crucial to a group called the East Side Parents Against Privatization. Wonderful group. Anyway, the Mariana Elementary folks, even during their virtual faculty meeting on Tuesday, they were all in red. This shows the union strength that we need to have, the unity that we need to have, and the message that we send when we have red on Tuesdays, even in our virtual faculty meetings. That shows administration and it shows the city that UTLA is a driving force in making sure that we get through this crisis, and that when we come out on the other side of the crisis, we're going to be better positioned to make sure that with the school district, the city, state, and the federal government, we are pushing for what educators and our students need. So shout out to Mariana Elementary and everybody else. Let's wear red for those virtual Tuesday faculty meetings. So that's it for now. We love you, students. We know this is a very difficult time. I've got kids. This is a very difficult time for my kids as they think about what the heck is going on in the world. We empathize with you, young people. And your life, in your lifetime, in your brief lifetime, young people below 18, you're seeing something none of us have seen before. So we're with you. We empathize with you. We know this is difficult, juggling, trying to do whatever you're doing with work, if you're lucky enough to have work, and your kids, and to our wonderful educators and health and human service providers. Keep up the great work. Remember, we are bargaining today to win a better outline for how this is going to happen. In the meantime, the district should be flexible with you. And in the meantime, make sure that any directive you get that seems unreasonable, you report immediately to your chapter chair and area rep. Members, we love you. Keep up the great work. We know you're juggling your family and your work and everything else and the anxiety and stress of this situation. We love you. We're with you. Take care. UCLA strong.